my goodness, a front page story in today's Wall Street Journal that tarped CEOs of bailed out banks actually used their own corporate jets at will, sometimes even for personal purposes. My Lord, string them up. We have Faiz Shakir of the Center for American Progress. We have CNBC contributor Don Luskin of Trend Macro, and he's also a contributor to the National Review. Faiz, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. Listen, I think it's great because I want to stimulate the economy. I want to help the resorts. I want to give all the people, you know, who work at those resorts, including the golf course attendants and the greenskeepers and the maids and the bartenders and the owners. And I want to give them everything. I'm glad the CEOs are going around. I just wish they'd take me with them. You have a problem with that?
I do have a problem when they're taking taxpayer money. I mean, Larry, you hate paying taxes. I understand that. But if there's one thing you hate more than paying taxes, it's seeing those taxpayer dollars go to waste. And that's what's going on here. If these banks are using the federal government's resources or getting all these guarantees to low-risk financing and then turning around and getting a profit from all this access to government capital and government credit, then they should be obligated not to use those profits or the access to the government credit that they're getting to go on these luxurious vacations that are ripping the taxpayers off.
But Don Luskin, first of all, most of these CEOs now have put in reimbursement policies for private trips. I mean, that's really the bottom line. Second of all, this front page story in the Journal, I think we put it up on the screen, maybe we put it up again, proves to me conclusively that the front page news writers of the Wall Street Journal are every bit as liberal left as they are at the New York Times. Not the editorial pages, which we love, but the front page writers.
Absolutely.
Thirdly, there's no economic impact statement here. What if these guys are helping the economy?
Well, if they are helping the economy, do you know the kind of staffing it takes to do a private jet? You've got to have pilots and co-pilots and luggage handlers and cooks and the whole thing. And you know, this employs a lot of people.
What about the jet makers?
Exactly.
The jet makers.
And what about all the suppliers of the jet makers? I'll tell you this, Larry.
What about the blue-collar workers who make the jets? Nobody ever thinks about that. Nobody ever thinks about that.
But to me, the fairness argument here is if we're going to make the case that taxpayer dollars should not fly around the CEOs of bankrupt organizations, then that should apply to taxpayer dollars funding the biggest bankrupt organization, CEO of all, Barack Obama, who takes Air Force One with his wife to New York for date night, where they land in New York, get on a government helicopter, fly to Manhattan, get in a government limousine, shut down traffic from 44th Street down to the Battery. God knows what the carbon footprint of that is, and that's all with taxpayer dollars. Where's the outrage?
That's pretty powerful stuff, Faiz. What do you say to that?
Well, you take that up with the Secret Service, but here we as taxpayers should be demanding.
But he gets TARP money, Faiz. The president, by definition, gets TARP money on a daily basis. And what Don is saying is very interesting. I don't think we begrudge him. I don't begrudge him, by the way. That's not where I'm going. I'm just saying, why should I begrudge a CEO? I mean, for example, if the shareholders keep the CEO on as CEO, the guy needs some rest. The corporate plane is the most efficient, effective way to do it.
Great, then let the corporations pay for that, Larry. That's fine. Then they shouldn't be asking for a nickel from the federal government. If they had been buried a year ago when they were about to enter into bankruptcy and lose their bearings and completely fall off the edge of the cliff, these corporate CEOs would be out in the cold without a job, but the government rescued them. And in return for having been rescued and being given this opportunity to earn profits, they're saying, okay, well, now we're going to go back to business as usual. We're going to continue to waste money. We're going to continue to bilk the taxpayer. That's ridiculous.
I think business as usual is exactly what I want to go back to after we get through with this bloody
that was exorbitant, ridiculous,
but I don't know.
Unnecessary spending.
But do we know, Don Luskin, this is an interesting point, the TARP money Faiz is referring to goes into the capital account of the bank. It's a preferred stock purchase. There's no cash flow going into airplanes and operating expenses. It's kind of a different account.
The dollars are fungible, but this is not simply a payment that they just get to spend on whatever they want. It goes into the capital structure, as you say, which means that they eventually have to pay it back. It's a loan from the government, not a gift. And I must say, if we're going to focus on the way the banks are spending money, the TARP banks, the ones that have had the worst troubles of all, that have needed the most government money, like Merrill Lynch. After Barack Obama was elected, Merrill Lynch paid Larry Summers a $45,000 speaking fee after the election, after it had taken TARP money. Where's the outrage?
This was after the TARP money was put in?
After the election.
After the election. Faz, you have a last-minute response to that little muckraking journalism by our friend Don Luskin?
I was just surprised to hear that you, the hero of the blue-collar worker, were spending 30 minutes depriving the blue-collar workers of health care. I mean, if you're going to stand up for the health care workers, you should stand up for all their benefits.
I'm going to give the truly uninsured. There's only 15 to 20 million. I would just give it to them, Faz. That was my point. I just don't want to nationalize our whole economy in the process. But I want to help the blue-collar workers.
I'm sure you do.
They make jets.
Give them health care.
They make golf courses. They make hotels. They make houses. You know,
and they need a Medicare-like program.
You build a new house, you could employ 20 people, Faz. That helps the economy.
And they need health care.
I'll give them health care if they truly can't afford it.
They've got a job to buy their own health care.
All right, Faz Shakir, thank you very much. Don Luskin, great stuff. Me, I say fly the jets. Reimburse for personal expenses. But that's what this article finally got around to saying. Most of these CEOs are reimbursing. Anyway, coming up,